It is February 17th. The year is 2022. My name is Robert Segers. I'm one of the product managers here at Sierra Interactive. I'm joined as always by my elegant and esteemed co-host, Buddy Blake. He leads a Team Ridge in Wilmington, North Carolina. You can find his website at buddyblake.com. And today, Buddy, we are going to be going over some things that are really working for you right now in terms of doing some things differently.
Well, we are, as this world calls for, to do things differently. And yeah, it's definitely working. But so here's the deal. I'm going to give you some background, and I'm going to push this up live. And you may have to make your screen big to read some of this. Hit the bottom right thing there.
Have a nice tip there for StreamYard. Okay.
Yep. And so once you do that, here's the deal. We've always spent a lot of money in radio. We've always spent it on billboards. But for the last 2 years, none of our messaging is working anymore because sellers, they don't perceive they need us. And quite honestly, they don't see realtors doing anything to sell houses now. All they do is, in most cases, see realtors bragging about how many offers that they took and got and all kinds of things like that. So
percentage over asking price, took negative 7 days to sell it, right?
There's no value proposition for the seller. Does that make sense? The seller's sitting there thinking, okay, well, I can put a sign up, I can get an offer. Well, truth be known, they might not get the right offer, you know what I mean? And the right deal. So I had an epiphany after reading a simple little book called Selling Different. And I'm like, okay, I'm spending all this money. I'm in these radio spots. I'm doing all this. And I needed to inject some new energy into my team and our group and overall our market too. So I said, okay, we've got some houses coming on the market. What if instead of, and this is the way we attack things, you know, we have a database full of buyers. We try to attack them all at once. This goes back to the other book I sent you. As instead of attacking it all at once, how about if we attacked each house? I mean, and really put some energy around a house to sell it, or a couple houses if you do a couple of them on a Saturday. So here's what we did. We came up and we said, what else can we do to help remove the barriers, get more money for our clients, our sellers, and at the same time, help buyers out. Buyers are really frustrated in my market because they cannot get into a house. There's backhand deals done. There's off-market deals. They're done because, you know, you got one company promoting it in-house and ain't sharing it out, you know, until 2 days after it's already sold. I'm sorry, it goes on. So they're not really getting a shot at these things. Well, the goal is open it up so buyers know they're going to get a shot at it. They can make an offer, blah, blah, blah. But also sight unseen and out of town buyers don't have a chance to get a lot of our property, especially our second home properties and vacations. So they're having to make offers with not a lot of information. So, and then we don't want to renegotiate after we put the deal together. And we were seeing deals fall apart because people were going around putting deposits down, smaller deposits down, and just to take houses off the market so they could come to town and they'd eliminate 3, and then that kills that deal. And once a contract falls apart, it scars the property. Everybody thinks there's something wrong with it. Okay. So we sat down and we said, okay, what can we do different than what we've been doing? And a lot of this isn't new technology, but a lot of it's just a rewrap and kind of a 2.0. So we said, okay, big problem up front. We know for a fact, because we've had deals fall apart once we have the home inspection in hand, that if we just go ahead and here's the disclosures, here's the home inspection, we know somebody from California or somewhere else, they will put more money down and go higher on their offer if they have it. Transparency. It doesn't scare them as much. Okay. We know that for a fact. Now, the problem has always been relaying that to the customer. So then we start building these case stories and have other people tell us, other customers tell the story. All right. That's the home inspection. The roof and HVAC in our world, HVAC is a big deal in our world because of the heat and the salt air. So that's something. And then roof because of salt air, heat, hurricanes and things like that. We got companies that we work with that do inspections, and they'll put 6-month warranties on them and things like that, just to make sure, you know, people have something. I'm not talking about an Aon home warranty or 210 home warranty. I'm talking about a real local company warranty as far as the labor. All right. And then we said, okay, what can we do to get behind these things? So here's what we did. We said, let's take all the money we're spending and let's throw it at open houses. We'll line them up. And we started this about 3 weeks ago, Robert. We're doing our 3rd week now. And it has created a lot of excitement. We've created, and it's funny because everybody thinks that we're just trying to run a bunch of people through a house. Yes, we're trying to give everybody a chance to look at the house. But the reality is we're showing sellers we're doing something different and we're working. And they see and they hear case study and they hear other people now, not just us saying it. Yeah, we got a $20,000 deposit just to take the offer, before their thing was over. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we're having these stories and we're getting more money. We're getting more deposits. We're getting shorter closes, better terms, and the transparency. Now it costs money. Okay. Because the sellers aren't going to spend any money on any of this stuff. They're just not. They don't see the value until you show them the value. So this is our flyer that we kind of go through. And then we show them exactly our radio schedule. Okay. All right. So this shows you, and we hit it hard Wednesday, Thursday. We're actually coming off of Wednesday and we're just doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday because Wednesday's coming out too early. Because all of a sudden when you do this and you put something coming soon, in our market, we're not allowed to show properties. And so we just get beat up by agents, wanting to get in and all this, bringing offers. And we don't want the offer to come too soon because we want to have the open house. Okay. All right. So the next thing is we put the flag. Now, a lot of this is nothing new, but we've organized it and packaged it. And I'm willing to share this with somebody if they want to do it.
Organized it, packaged it, doing it differently, and paying for it. You're paying for it up front.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that. I think you saw the screens for it. So this is just a simple bandits. They sit out in front of the houses all before the open house. I mean, if you're ever going to do an open house, this is what you got to do. You put these out 3 or 4 days ahead of it, and the stop signs around it and things like that. But you also have a landing page that is going to take them somewhere too, so that they can, see what's going on. Does that make sense? So they know what it's about. This is something we're putting on the end of our signs now, thanks to Sierra, and that little QR deal. And we can change. The beautiful thing is we can buy these signs now and interchange them because the QR codes are dynamic, which means, that we can change the URL address. Let me just make sure there's no comments. Okay, there's not. You can change the URL so that this property, if they call in on this number for 123 Elm Street, or if they scan that QR, it's going to go to a single, I call them a custom property website. You call them a single site website from Sierra. So it works beautifully, which creates the automation behind it to get them the documents and everything else. So we utilize that. And I'll get into a little bit more of the bolts of it. This is an ad that we run on social media. But what we do, Robert, is, let me go here. And we do it a little different here. Let's see. Hey, Buddy Blake here with Waypost Realty. And I'm excited to let you know about this Saturday morning's open house in historic downtown Wilmington at 1501 Ann Street. This home is priced at $275,000 and has 3 bedrooms, a detached garage, and off-street parking, and it's move-in ready. We have a home inspection, pictures, floor plans, and other documents transparently available online at BuddyBlakeRadio.com. BuddyBlakeRadio.com. Okay. So does that make sense?
Right. So you're pointing them to BuddyBlakeRadio.com, which is what? What's that site?
That simply goes to, let's see, let me try a share. What does that look like, Robert?
That looks like a custom property site, as you would call it.
Yes, it is.
Or what Sierra calls a single property site.
That's exactly right. But look, we embedded the video. Hi, this is Buddy Blake.
I can hear it.
One of our mega open houses that we're running every weekend on Saturday mornings from 10 to 2. What we've decided to do is sell differently and to market homes differently. In an era when there's very little home marketing going on because people just put it out there and hope they get a price or whatnot, and they certainly can get a price. But what we've learned is with going in and doing a home inspection up front, doing a roof inspection up front, HVAC, having all these things there and be transparent, and then also create an energy and opportunity where we take and resource all of our radio ads on 5 different stations, over 150 spots each week. Well, basically, Robert, what I'm doing is I'm explaining to them, we're explaining exactly what we're doing on that. All right, let's roll. So down here, you'll notice the other thing is you guys have this wonderful feature. We were trying to do this with manual listings. but it doesn't give you the ability to do these things, to upload this stuff.
Yep, that's
So
true.
this is just perfect. So we took this right here. I mean, anybody thinking about, you're sitting in California, you're wanting to buy this house, you absolutely, I mean, you can go to floor plan, you can get a property brochure, first time home buyer guide. We got all this, are you ready to buy a house? You go right here and it's going to show you, it's going to open that up so you can see that. So that's seller marketing. Here's the recent home inspection. Let's see, here we go right here. There's one right here, a little homeowner letter. Are you ready to buy a house? Boom, there you go. We just upload everything into it. Of course, then you got the slides, a video tour, and what this is, we use listings to leads. We just use where they just basically put one together. And then this is, we can't embed the seller site on yours, so we embed a different system's seller site. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like for instance, right here, and you just kind of walk through. So we're calling, I mean, we've got all these different call to actions coming out. And then we got the floor plan image down here. We've got a nice, whoopsie. And then we got a nice, right here is like, Robert. And
welcome to Wilmington, North Carolina.
This is kind of like talking all about it. Here's a bunch of streetscape from around where that house is. I mean, this tells everything, and it looks beautiful on a mobile device. And, of course, any leads that come to this and what we do, this really helps us. What happens is we're able to we use the link builder, and I'll walk through that in just a minute. But I wanted to show you, add to the string. All right, we did that one. This is just another version, again, using the QR code. And then right here, this is an example of once they come into the system and they register, if somebody registers and they go to the QR code or they do any of this thing, this allows us to automatically send them back an email and a text with all the information they wanted. Okay. This is an example of a text that goes back to them. Hey, thanks for calling about blah, blah, blah. And it takes them back to the single site. You see how we're bringing them all back to the pieces, keeping them all within the same circumference. So what we did is we packaged this up and we sit down with the seller, and here's our agent's conversation. It said, Robert, let me explain something to you. Listen, you can put a sign up. There's no question. And nobody knows what the price will be. I can tell you that right now. Anybody says they do, they're crazy. So you can put it out there, but whatever you think you can put it out there for, I know for a fact we can put it out there for more. And let me tell you what we're going to do for you. You see all this marketing. Here's the money that we're spending up front, Robert, whether we sell the house or not. Okay? Right there. I'm going to be $3,000 in on this house. And that's the reason I'm going to charge you instead of, in our market, we are charging, if it was a regular one, this is not cross market. There is no standard commissions. We charge 5% right now for a regular house listing if we, just do normal stuff.
And you do 2.5.
Right. But with this one, and we tell the seller, say, listen, here's the deal. We're going to put the money up front. We're going to get our money back, but we're going to probably get you 5 to 10% more money because you're going to get more opportunities and you're going to get bigger deposits. So even if they walk away, you keep it. So what we're going to do is charge you 6%. You got no risk in it. We're offering 2.5 to the buyer's agent and 3.5 on the back.
Right.
So it's a win-win for everybody. And it holds, it really, really works well. And then here's the action plan. So, I mean, this is all the steps because it takes energy. You know what I mean?
Right. That's exactly right.
And it's a lot of work. I can tell you 3 weeks in a row, just getting radio spots together, getting it all together, getting it done. The open house registration link, about those because that's where anybody that comes in, our script is, our sellers ask us for security reasons, please get everybody to register. As soon as they register, it sends them the emails and the text with all the information on it and adds them to Sierra, obviously. And then the other thing that we're doing too is we push it with a email. So this is an email out of BombBomb. This goes out. We send these out Friday afternoon because otherwise everybody will forget about it. And this goes out to a segmented list that we export out of Sierra into BombBomb. We do not send these out through Sierra. It is to all sellers, sphere of influence, past customers, and then we do a reverse prospecting over if the price range is somebody that's looking in that price range in that area. and we export that and send that out to them. And it has been remarkable. I mean, remarkable, the response we've got. On the very first one we did, it was a $750,000 house. I can't tell you what it sold for, but I can tell you that it had a huge deposit, closed in 2 weeks, and there were multi-offers. And we picked up, I know for a fact, 2 buyers that are working on now and 2 listings off of it.
Right. And that's really the big win here, right? Is that in a low inventory market where there just aren't homes to sell,
Right.
what you're doing and to buy. What you're doing is you are not only working up front to say, and it's taking you time, right? This is not an automation within Sierra, right? You're not adding a tag and it all goes. It takes some time to set this up. It took some creative energy up front to kind of work through your 15 action points, et cetera. Where you're saying, like, we'll pay for this up front. The percentage, the commission is going to be a little bit higher, but you're going to get more money from it. So the seller wins, you win, right? And then but really it's not just about that, right? It's not about the individual transaction. It's about what's coming from it as well.
Well, I was going to also tell you, we guarantee them, and I didn't put that screen in there, I meant to. We guarantee them if we do not exceed, if we don't get them more money than what they would have got, we will cede back the 1%.
Yeah. Okay. So it really is. So it looks to the seller like this is a no risk proposition, right?
Correct.
And so what you're doing is, especially with those radio spots, I want you to tell me a little bit of more detail, if you're willing, around what's happened. Like you mentioned on Wednesdays, when you ran the ad on Wednesdays, you were getting too much, the wrong kind of interest right away, right?
Well, it was too fast. People were wanting to go see the house right then, and all the conversations were, I want to get in there first. And they get angry. I want to bring an offer first. I want to do this. I mean, so we had to be really careful when we time it out, because the way we're doing it, coming soon works different in every market. And our rules are, if it's coming soon, it can't be shown. So, but we found if we put it in Wednesday and then had it go live Thursday and block showings until the open house, that was really aggravating some people. So now what we do is Thursday, we put it in coming soon. It goes active Friday afternoon, so it's able to syndicate out through all, the Zillows, the open houses, so that everybody sees it. And then showings start at the open house time, and we're there from 10 to 12, and that's it, 2 hours.
Right.
So we can also tell a seller, say, give us 2 hours at your house, other than the pictures, the photographs, and all that. Give us 2 hours.
Right. So talk to me about the amount of time. I mean, apart from let's take the creative energy and the reading of the books and your own brain off the table. In terms of the actual 15 action points, about how much time, like if somebody R&D'd you, ripped off and duplicated, which you're willing to let them do, you've said, if they did your 15 action points, about how much time all in across the various people? Well, let's ask it 2 ways. Who all's involved, and how long does it take?
It's me mostly, and it's going to take somebody. First off, it probably takes me about 30 minutes to crank out the radio spots. And what I do is I crank them. I've got a decent mic. I crank the radio spots using the app in my app, in the Apple. I send it to the radio station, and they have to be in by Tuesday at 11 for them to get them back. And they edit them down, get the speeds right. And so, but otherwise, it's a matter of really just ordering the home inspection. Your lead time's about a week, okay, to answer that question. But physical working on it, probably 3 to 4 hours of somebody, whether it's me or me plus man hours with Patrick or something like that.
Right.
You got to build the sites, you got to do that, then you got to work it all in together. But I can tell you one thing. Also had 2 agents call us about interviewing with us, because nobody else is doing this stuff.
Right. And there you go. Right. So you're really, it's very attractional in all kinds of ways with residual attraction. Scott did ask, you mentioned that the open houses, you can tell the seller, we need 2 hours at your house, Saturday, 10 to 12. He said, is that the normal times for open houses in your market? In my market, Scott says, which is Louisville, Kentucky, open houses are typically on Sunday from 1 to 5. Typically either 2 to 4, 1 to 3 on Sundays. So Saturday mornings, is that typical for Wilmington, North Carolina?
No, it's not typical at all.
Okay.
I mean, I would say most of them are, when you see open houses, they're on Sundays or Saturdays, and usually 1 to 5 or something like that. We learned a long time ago, I used to be a Craig Proctor guy years ago. And we used to literally do the 15-minute or 30-minute open houses where we would do 10 open houses in a day and bounce. And I've learned that creating more energy, the tighter timeline, the better for creating the energy. So the other side of it is we don't do open houses on Sunday. That's just a faith thing for me. It's Sabbath. I don't want that happening.
Rest and recharge. Yeah,
exactly. So, but we do it, and also I want to do it in the morning so that serious buyers are typically out in the morning, right? Because they're up and at it. And in this market, buyers will go to whatever time you want them to go to,
right?
If they're serious. Plus, you're not messing up the seller's house all day, and you're not tying up your agent all day. So everybody gets to go to lunch.
Right. That's a good question, Scott. Thank you. Might be worth considering that in Louisville as well, because it's not just in Wilmington that there's a low inventory market, but it's everywhere, right, buddy?
Oh, it is. There's
everywhere.
nowhere it's not.
Great question. If you've got a question, by the way, do ask it in whichever way you want to ask it. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, just post your comment and we'll go ahead and answer it. Any question is fair game. All right, buddy. So you're talking about 3 or 4 hours all in addition to what you would typically do for a listing. But what you're getting out of it, so apart from those 3 to 4 hours and then the cost associated, which it looked like it was running up on $3,000. Is that right?
Yep.
Is that you've got the seller who is happy. You have lots of opportunity for buyers, to be able to make a good offer. And you're attracting additional listings. Right. You're attracting agents who are seeing you do something different, right? And kind of to your point, you mentioned the strategies, none of them are all that groundbreaking. It's just that you're putting them all together in a different kind of way. It's like you're working with the same Lego pieces, but instead of the car that you had put together with these Lego pieces, now you've put together a truck or something like this, right?
Well, when I go back to the numbers too, because the other thing is the transparency is we're sitting down with rarely does an agent sit down with a seller and explain to them what their costs are. Okay. So because the sellers have the impression that we don't do anything but put signs up. And unfortunately, in this market, that is what happens a lot. And we just simply redeployed our radio to a different message because guaranteed sale, or we'll buy your house for cash fast. That just didn't work in our market. No, we're getting no traction with it and haven't been since COVID.
Right. Now, Scott again asks, he's really following along. He says, when building the single property site, or as you call it, the custom property site, outside of the comparative market analysis, isn't that the acronym CMA? Out of the CMA call to action that you could do a CMA CTA, Scott. I know you like the acronyms. CMA call to action that you can't embed from Sierra. Do you run into any other limitations that you would use a magic wand and change if you could? Meaning,
actually, it works. Actually, it works. I mean, we use, like I said, we use listings to lead. They've got a widget, a home value widget, Scott, and I just embed it down there where the 3D tour goes.
Right. So there is another service that you're using for that that you've used for a long time, right? Yeah,
I've used them for. Hold on, I'll show you.
Exactly.
Now, the other thing is I love the way that we can do these and use real high definition photos.
Yes, you can.
Versus all the watermark crap that the MLS does. And of course, a lot of people don't know this. You can go in and add those to your regular listings too,
right?
Which is nice. Okay. And we do that too because it just looks so much sharper. On tab.
We're just penguins building the plane as we fly, buddy. That's really
the way I roll. Okay, let me go over here to my little place down here, QR code generator right here. All right, I'll give you an example. Here's our code right here. We just started using them. We ordered the signs, and these QRs won't change. We'll just dynamically change them. Does that make sense? So they direct different places. But let's say that let's say I wanted to make a brand new dynamic code. You go in here. The easy one is here it is, because all it is really a forward. So I can come in here and I could put robertsagers.com, and if they scan it, we'll go there, right? If I did this right here and I typed, hey, party's at such and such, and they scanned it, it would just show that text. Okay. If I put a contact right here, and you guys do have this, I think, don't you?
Which thing? I'm looking.
To show the agent's QR code to all their information?
Yeah, in the mobile app, absolutely.
Okay, well, here it is right here. You could do it like this. So if they scan it, they've got it. An app, you can have it open up a certain app on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
You can have it call a number.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have it SMS a number. Which
Yeah, so this is a Chrome plugin. What is it that you're on right now?
This is a Chrome plugin. It is. Right.
Right. So we're all familiar now with QR codes. If we weren't familiar 12 years ago, we're definitely familiar now. Some of us were familiar with them, and then they died, and then they raised from the dead like a phoenix from the ashes. And now people use them in restaurants for their menus primarily. But buddy, you're using them here as people are starting to become more and more familiar with them, to just pull out their camera, scan it, and something will happen.
There it is, right there. I think that's the most powerful. This is like IVR 2022, because number one is somebody wants to call or text, they can do it here. And what I found is, funny thing is, people like doing it this way versus all the short code crap that we were using.
Right.
Because they would get confused as to which number to text to what number.
Now, what's that phone number there?
This number is a Sierra routed, and then hold please. I will show you in just a minute. I'll show you what we did with that number. But first off, and then this QR code goes to that single property site. So now I got so many screens going here.
So you generate that QR code for free. You use it, you put it on something like this.
Well, it's not free. I'm $50 a year for that.
$50 a year. Okay.
And the dynamic is the critical part. Okay.
Right.
Especially for signs and writers and things like that.
$50 a year. So you're talking what, $4 and pennies per month. So you get to create all these QR codes. So you got QR code that you put on something. Then QR code runs to a tracking link. The tracking link is for the open house page on the property. When a lead fills out the information, it'll route, and you can follow up with a text and email that's custom to that property, right? So that's the tracking link generator. And then the phone number is something you generated within Sierra as well. So I'm waiting to see what you do here.
I'm sorry. Go into lead routing. I got confused. Unknown numbers. Here it is right here. Jack is doing the open house this coming weekend on this house. So all of a sudden, anybody that calls that number is going to route to Jack automatically, and it's going to get routed to Paul, which is our lender. It says source is a yard sign. It's a buyer. Auto send text. This is the text. It's a template. You got to build the template in the back end, and then we put a note in there so that it's in the note.
Right. And so that's if somebody calls, and if somebody texts Sierra, we have not yet built the texting for unknown numbers. That's in the queue.
But it works because we get a notification by email.
It will send the text to the catch-all number set up in your dialer settings, and it will send an email with the text message content. So you'll be covered there as well. You just won't be able to automatically create a lead record like you can with the calls here in the unknown.
But it works fine.
So really, I mean, here's the deal about everything that we're talking about here. Is any of this rocket science, buddy? Have you opened up a Gnostic book of knowledge, and you've got this secret way of seeing things that no one else could ever do because there's something special about whatever it is that's happening here? The answer is
no. Here's the deal.
No.
In my mind is I'm repackaging old technology that's new again and repackaging IVR, doing it a different way. Okay. QR codes, doing it a different way. Yard signs, doing it a different way. Open houses, doing it a different way. Phone numbers, doing it a different way. And, now we got the power to get this stuff out. And radio just retooled. And instead of a generic ad, super hyper focus. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we're just really focusing in on that stuff. And we also, Robert, I told you, we have just revised our primary action plan without auto text.
So really what you're doing, you were in what is different is that you were inspired by a short book called Sell Differently, right?
Well, it wasn't that great of a book. It just bugged my mind. And I'm like, why do we have to keep doing things the same way? Because here's the deal. We're not delivering value to the consumer right this moment for selling a house. Why should they call us? I'm not going to say that we're not helping them through the negotiation and the expert. There's no question about that. But part of what the consumer sees the commission fee for is marketing.
So you're not getting defensive and you're not getting resentful. You're just saying, well, whether that's true or not, and there's some truth to it. You've mentioned in this market, it's not the most difficult thing to list and sell a home, right? To actually get the job done, get the transaction.
Well, it's difficult. You got to deal with multi offers. There's difficult on our
different
side,
difficulties,
but the context from the consumer side.
Right. Okay. So you're just taking that and you're saying, well, what could we do to do it a little bit differently? Between that and a book that focused on really reaching one person at a time, right? And focusing on one relationship at a time. You're thinking, okay, how is it that we can really do something different that can be attractional in ways that may not seem so obvious on the surface? So
right.
For a little bit of cost, right? But from technologies that are not crazy. I mean, you didn't show me a single Zap, right? Zapier always kind of throws some people off. Like, I can't do this, but none of it.
I did it all within the
crazy.
CRM. And if you're not even using Sierra, you could do some of these things, probably not as many, but it is just use what you got and put your mind around it.
Right. And so you're just taking that and you got your 15 points. It takes an additional 3 or 4 hours to do the addition, not the functions of what you're doing here, but the HVAC and the roof, the home inspection that you're putting up front for a higher commission for generating not just from you. I mean, what's unique here and what you're sharing is your restless brain, right? And so you're getting this. I was going to say it, but then you even said it. It said the book wasn't that great, but it just bugged my brain, which is one of the values that you personally have, buddy. And now you're actually sharing all the details of it, right? Like you mentioned transparently in that radio ad about the photos on the website, but you are being pretty transparent right here about everything that you're doing just to share the value. So you've got the listings, so far you're 3 weeks in. You've done this 3 times now, right? This Saturday is your 3rd.
That's correct.
You're getting good offers, lots of interest. Everybody gets to go have lunch on Saturday.
Well, we had unintended consequences. The first one that we just didn't foresee. We had offers flying in before and people trying to pay us not to do the open house.
And what did you do with those?
Well, we didn't make the decision. The seller did.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
So we don't get to make that decision. That's the seller's decision.
That makes sense. So you're on your 3rd weekend now, and you've seen that this has worked, right? And that it's working in this market.
Created energy in our office. I got agents wanting to do open houses, and
a
new agents that we've hired. It's given them opportunities like they've never had before. And it's exciting, to actually push towards a goal. We're all working towards it.
So it's been attractional to agents wanting to join your teamerage, and you've had a couple of people reach out about it, and it's been attractional for additional listings, right? So I think this is all really fantastic, and as always, I appreciate you going into all the detail with it. Yeah,
like I told you, I've got the whole PDF breakdown. If somebody wants it, I'm pretty sure they can find me online. How to reach me.
So you can find his website, buddyblake.com.
Just not in my market.
And then
unless you want to have a conversation about, Waypost Realty.
Joining the team. Yep. Buddyblake.com, and you can find him on Facebook and various other places, I'm sure. TikTok probably.
No.
There. So yeah, I really appreciate all of this. I'm wondering if there's anything else you want to share about it beyond that. If somebody wants to know, really see all the documents and doesn't want to go back and screenshot and zoom in.
Well, no, they can screenshot, but like I said, I've got a PDF. I can, I'm happy to send it to them. If they just message me, I'll send them the PDF, a link to it anyway, and they can download it and make it their own, take it for what it is. I mean, that's for our market, what we're doing, and they can put their own spin on it. So.
Great.
But it really saves you. I mean, it's a launch pad. You can sit right down and you could implement this. Anybody could implement this. The radio part, they might have to figure out. They need some help with that. I know some people that can get them, but otherwise, they're even in the body of it. I did share kind of our strategy of what we do with our radio. So that's in there too. So I'm happy to share all that.
Yeah, you might want to throw up an Amazon link for your fancy microphone as well. There's not. I know, especially now with fluctuating interest rates. We didn't talk about interest rates today, buddy. We talked about them before, but they're going up, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're going up, and maybe a little faster than some people expected. So I guess we're going to just continue to see how all of this plays out now, 2 years in, buddy. It's been a pretty different kind of experience than what we've seen before.
Nice.
But we'll have a good time with that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Buddy. Again, if you're looking for more information on this, Buddy's got the PDF of all the details of what he's doing. You can find Buddy online on Facebook. You can find him at buddyblake.com. Again, sign up for his Monday morning coffee.
Or buddy@buddyblake.com.
Or just email buddy@buddyblake.com.
Yep.
You could even call that phone number, see what happens. Go through the experience yourself of calling that number and, you know, getting all that information sent to you. I think it's always good from my perspective as a product manager at Sierra to consider yourself like a lead for a minute and actually see what happens and what kind of experience would be there for you.
Well, and also I was going to say that is one of the things that we're able to do now is share these stories out and share. Like one of my agents said, hey, this is something we did for somebody else. And he started sending it to the FISBOs on Zillow, and he got one to call him back, and they actually did it.
Yeah.
You know, you're showing them instead of telling them.
Right. That's awesome, buddy. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll revisit this here in a couple weeks to see how it's going. And I appreciate you as always, buddy. Thanks for everybody joining us, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much.
Right. Thanks a lot.